What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about some of the best kicks when you're moving backwards. Not ones where we're stationary, where we stop somebody, but actually in that reverse motion. What can you utilize to stop somebody when they're on that rapid attack and they're trying to take you down? That's our episode today. So these are some gloves which I'm going to throw on today. Do I need gloves for this episode? No. But these are gloves that Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship sent over, and they are signed on one hand by Sanchai, the other one by Borkau, for their big massive fight that they had, whatever that was, a month ago or so. Anyway, they sent them over. I'm never going to use them on the glove. That would be awful. There's only 20 of these in the world that got signed, so got to respect them, but I want to try them on too, because I haven't actually been able to do that yet. So we're going opposite color gloves today, and we are talking about moving backwards and throwing a kick. Now, I'm going to explain a couple things to you to begin with. Many of you might be going, oh, well, you can just use the front kick to stop somebody. But when you're already in reverse, somebody started the attack, you've been going, okay, I'm gonna back up, and then midway through that motion, you try to throw a front kick, most likely you have not completed a massive pivot, which means the weight can easily shift through your heel. Once your weight shifts through your heel, you're gonna go completely over it. You're not gonna be able to adjust the way you want. So in my opinion, things like moving backwards and throwing front kicks, or moving backwards and trying to throw a knee, those don't work that well because, as I already said, your toes are facing towards your opponent. And in my experience, that leads you to either falling backwards or having no power in your defensive shot. So what does that leave us with if we're not throwing front kicks and we're not throwing knees? Well, we still have a whole number of techniques we can pull from our kicking arsenal, but it's important that we make sure we dial in and go, well, these ones are more likely to work than maybe something like a jumping, spinning hook kick. Unlikely to work. So the first one that I want to walk you guys through, which I think would actually work quite nicely because you can get some backwards momentum, is throwing the lead leg round kick right to the body, not landing with a straight leg, but landing with a slightly bent leg. So you thrust your hip forward and you're going to be getting a big pivot. So even if you get hit and you have to continue moving backwards, your toes can be the portion of your foot that land, and then you can provide a little bit more ability to stay on your feet. So again, we're backing up, and we throw that lead leg round kick. It could have come off the back one, but in my experience, because you have to get closer to your opponent by moving this leg in, you can see my body has to move this direction as opposed to this one where it can stay stationary. I don't like to switch legs defensively because I find it puts me closer to the punch. So I'm backing up and I throw my kick. I could add a little skip in as I'm backing up to create some distance and then throw it, or I could very simply just back up and throw. And again, I might have to continue my backwards pedal once I land the kick, depending if it lands in the torso and actually stops them. Now, alternatively, and this is a kick that we saw Superbon knock Petrosian out with. If you're not already rapidly moving back and now trying to add a kick, you just go, okay, this guy's attacking and I want to back pedal very quickly, but throw something. The head round kick off the back leg works beautifully. But because this person's attacking, if you don't shift backwards, you're going to get jammed, or they're going to get jammed a bit on the kick. We want to still land with our lower shin or our foot. So what we have to do is we have to jump off the ground with both feet and throw the round kick and land at the same time as the kick making impact. I can be here and go, okay, this guy's at jab range. Oh no, he starts advancing, spring back and land that head kick. This is a very good technique, which does work. Superbon already proved that, and it throws people off because a lot of times they don't think they're at kicking range. Now, if you've been paying attention to this episode, you've really noted that I believe a big key to moving backwards and throwing kicks is making sure that you pivot your foot. Side kicks can also work, but in my experience, it's a little harder to do if you're backing up square because you have to make that big adjustment to the side, but it's definitely possible. I could back up and throw because again, I'm gonna land with my foot in that proper pivot position, and if I have to jump, I can do it. Alternatively, you could be backing up and jump spinning side kick or even spinning side kick if you're capable of doing fancy techniques like that. A couple of the main things which people are not going to focus on, because you're going to go, oh, I want to try this. Maybe you have a bag at home, you can push the bag. You can start fairly close to it, push the bag, go, oh, it's coming, and stop it. You're going to focus on the lower half of your body, but you're not going to focus on the upper half. And what's important on the upper half is that we are maximizing our range by leaning back that little bit and making sure our hands are not completely out of place. For example, if I throw my round kick, but I swing my arm right down, maybe there's a better alternative to that, like swing my arm and have it come across the face. I can absolutely do that. I'm backing up and just come right to here. So any straight punches which come down the middle, in case this guy jams me or gets closer than I thought he would, that hand will protect. And that's very important. So don't just focus on the lower half, focus on what your upper half is doing defensively. Defensive, offensive. If you can pull this kind of stuff off, it is, in my opinion, what takes average level fighters and starts making them exceptional. Everybody can throw fairly well from here when your feet are stationary. Moving forward or moving around sideways is a little harder. Backing up and throwing, that's much more difficult, because naturally when we reverse, we start going a little bit slower, we feel a little bit less comfortable. If I tell you to go to the track and sprint forward, no problem. If I tell you to sprint backwards, you're going to be going, whoa, whoa. So just naturally, we don't move as well backwards. But if you can drill this and actually make it a viable technique for yourself, all of a sudden you're not going to be scared of people committing with really heavy attacks, because you know it leaves them exposed in the body or the head to big power kicks. And if you're wanting to go down to the leg, you can utilize that as well. Maybe you're backing up and you just do a little skip low kick, or you're backing up and you sweep the leg and cause them, as they're walking forward, to end up in a really wide stance, because you're backing up, you come in front, or sorry, to the inside of their foot, you hook it and just drive it out. This one works really darn well, and sometimes you can put people almost in a split. They're attacking, their weight's light, and you put them out here. If you're really mean, you finish with a knee to the head. Come right from here and then right up into the knee to the head. There are some very viable attacks through the legs which you can throw backing up, but think about them, because way too often I see people trying to do this, and obviously there's no power and they're just going to get knocked over. Or trying to throw a knee backwards, it doesn't work well. If you're planted, absolutely stop them, or step forward and jam them with that knee. But otherwise, use the techniques which I mentioned today, and I think they will help you in your overall sparring or fight game. That's all from me, guys. Thanks for joining me today. As always, train hard. I will see you back here soon for another episode.